Hanse, and welcome to Métis Minute, your source for Métis news. In today's episode, we wanted to talk about everyone's favorite festival in Simcoe County, Midland's Ontario's best butter tart festival. Although the festival takes place on June 8th, a lot of city planning goes into making the festival possible, which is why it was the topic of last week's Midland City Council. Midland City Council came together to discuss the economic feasibility of possibly holding the Butter Tart Festival over a 2-day period. To give you a little context, the Butter Tart Festival is important not only to the community here in Simcoe County, but to the international community. The festival brings in over 60,000 outside visitors. Not only are there butter tarts, but the city opens their streets to over 200 vendors and merchants that will expand their storefronts to the sidewalks. The festival is a boost to the local economy. With many businesses struggling to recover from COVID, Council came together to discuss the upcoming festival and how it could best be used to serve the community.
All right, up next, we've got 22.1. I have a motion here moved by Councillor Downer, seconded by Councillor East. The staff provide a report to Council to investigate the costs and feasibility of running the Butter Tart Festival for 2 days. Take it away, Councillor Downer.
Well, it was me that brought this motion to the floor. And thank you, Councillor East, for seconding it. I'd like to see our festival run into 2 days instead of one. I know there's a lot of reasons for not doing it, but I'd like to 4 reasons for doing it. Whether we have to bring in a band for entertainment or something to get our hotels full and our restaurants. I don't think they're being utilized on that weekend, and 1 day I don't think is enough to showcase our town. And I'd like to move forward and make some plans to try and keep things going for the whole weekend. So I look for some support on that.
All right, perfect. So maybe before we get into council questions on this, it would be good. I did share with you, because I brought this up last summer, and I did get an email that I don't think council all saw with some rationale as to why it wasn't in place right now. And Karen Mealing, I believe, is online. You can pop online and she can just share some of those things with you. It's not meant to dissuade from this, but it's just to bring some more information to the table, and then we can continue some conversation on this. Because of course, anything's possible. Ms. Mealing.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon, and through you to Council. Yes, having Butter Tart be a 2-day event is obviously something we hear quite often. It's a comment we see on social media, and it has been considered in the past. However, there are a number of factors that we've considered, and that's why we've kept it as the 1 day. However, if Council would like a report and an evaluation on making it a 2-day event, we will certainly provide that for you. Some of the reasons why we have kept it as a 1-day event is that after the 2016 or 2017 festival, before I was hired by the town, they did a survey of the vendors and to see if they would have it as a 2-day event. The majority said no for the Butter Tart vendors and those who are doing baked goods. It's a challenge for them to bake enough product and also to be able to keep it fresh for that amount of time. Also, the festival has a significant number of street closures. This causes, and they would also go from Friday evening until Sunday evening. This can cause issues for our emergency services. Also, we have security guards during the daytime at the festival always, but we would require them overnight and onto Sunday as well, basically tripling our cost for security. We don't anticipate seeing doubling of attendance. We actually think that we might see lower attendance each day. People might choose to come on the Saturday or the Sunday, or say, it's a nice beach day, let's go to the beach on Saturday and go to the festival on Sunday, and then it rains, and then they just may not come. Additionally, we know that our hotels and motels are pretty well full that weekend, so we know that people are staying and coming into our restaurants and hotels, and they're getting the benefit of that. We also have a small team. To bring the festival into 2 days, we would require additional staff. We help the Public Works with the Public Works Palooza 2 weeks before the Butter Tart Festival. The week before the festival is the Kids Fishing Derby. About 3 weeks after the festival is Canada Day. Plus we have cruise ships. We're getting ready for all the other summer events, the Tugboat Festival or tall ships, depending on the year. We also have the new Music in the Park and the new Mural Festival. So in the course of 1 week with Butter Tart, we're each working at least 54 hours. If we were to make it 2 days, we're probably looking at 74 hours per staff in 1 week. Additionally, our costs for entertainment would double because we'd be bringing in entertainment for both days. We also would see more shuttle expenses because we'd be running the shuttles on both days. And the cost for operation staffs would double because they'd be working 2 days on the weekend as well.
All right, thanks for that background and some context. Councillor Ball.
Thank you. Maybe a little out of the box thinking for this one, maybe not having Butter Tart 2 days in the capacity that we see it as the 1 day with all the vendors set up and everything. Maybe we clean up that street. We don't have that security and we make a bigger Music in the Park on the day after Butter Tart Festival. So we can combine some of those festivals. I know you did a good job with that with Tugboat Fest and with Rib Fest. Maybe there's a third-party venue that wants to come somewhere on Sunday, or maybe we just do a larger Music in the Park that's Butter Tart themed. So we can, you know, maybe lower our costs, but maybe creative thinking and not looking at it as a 2-day vendor event.
Councillor Downer.
Yeah, thank you. I remember days gone by, we used to have a car show on the main street. It was very successful. What would be wrong with having something like that on the second day? Like the main street was packed with people looking at old cars and, you know, just something to generate some business for the local merchants.
Karen, did you have a response to that? And then I'll go to Councillor East as well.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. To Councillor Downer. The BIA has expressed interest in maybe doing something on the Sunday of Butter Tart weekend. We told them we would wait and see what council wanted us to do with this potential report and how they would proceed going forward. And also if a third party event, to address what Councillor Ball said, if a third party event wanted to come in and do something on Saturday evening, if they were very well organized and it wasn't going to impact the Butter Tart Festival in terms of logistics and traffic flow, or if someone wanted to do something on the Sunday, we would certainly support that and help promote it through our social media.
Councillor East? No.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think that Jim's on the right track, and we should be looking at possibly adapting the Butter Tart Festival. If we don't, we could also run the risk of it not being successful because people eventually get used to it. And what Jim's doing is he's expanding the opportunity for us to grow with this. The idea of shutting down, you know, the downtown with a car show is a great idea. Having the restaurants open up, having, you know, food being served and sidewalk sales, it would be a great opportunity to grow and expand business for the merchants downtown. You know, I can personally speak to it. I enjoy it and I love it, but I can tell you that really not much comes in that day. But by keeping it open for 2 days, we could really maybe focus more on a retail aspect of the second day. I love the idea of having some sort of concert, and I don't know if we have to reach out to Rotary to, you know, expand that and do, you know, a dark party on the second day. But there's lots of opportunities here to grow it. And the other thing that we should be watching as well is we have Barry nipping at our feet, wanting to throw their own butter tart festival. So the thing is, if we don't find ways to expand this and grow it, we could go stale with it. So I think, speaking to Jim and Jamie, it's a great idea. Just find ways to grow this and really make this a huge event that not only keeps us on the map, but well, puts us on the map, but keeps us on the map, because I'm sure you've heard that Barry wants to bite at our heels with this one. So I just think it makes sense to try to find a way to utilize 2 days and make this a huge event that goes province-wide. So I'll pass that off, but I think it's a great idea.
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna just pass it over to Deputy Mayor Prost. She hasn't had a chance to speak yet, but are you suggesting, just because I'm trying to parse what you're saying, are you suggesting actually having a 2-day butter tart festival, or dovetailing a 1-day butter tart, clearing all that stuff out of the middle of the street so an old car show could happen in tandem? Are you talking about dovetailing 2 festivals together, or actually expanding butter tart festival so all the butter tart vendors are there for 2 days flogging butter tarts?
Thank you. So through your worship, I'm going to use your word, synergies. So what I was originally thinking is along the way of, running the synergies of the first day. It is, Karen's right. I've spoken with merchants down there that bring their butter tarts. They're usually sold. I know the first couple of years they were sold out by 10 o'clock in the morning. And then they were just pulling out or twiddling their thumbs for the rest of the day. Now they've grown to see that they have to bring more to make the whole day. A lot of those vendors, there's no way that they're going to be able to make it for 2 days cooking. Some of the bigger factories that come in with, a million butter tarts, they can handle it, but the smaller people can't. But so what I am saying is, yes, let's expand on it. The first day is butter tart. People are coming, they're already here. So now let's figure out a way to keep them here for another day. And that's a great way. The car show is a great way. Shut down, have the farmers market down there on that day. Have everybody that can utilize and benefit from this event should be able to use it. And I can speak to it that even though I love it, it really does nothing for me. If anything, it's my worst day of the year. Now, I have also spoken to like Pebbletree and little trinket stores. They do great because there's those $5, $10 sales. But really, does it benefit a lot of the stores? I can't speak on all of them, but I can tell you that a lot of us don't really gain anything from it. So by creating a huge event for the 2 days, the first day, of course, obviously butter tart, but the second day, let's carry on. And we've got a car show, we've got a live band, we've got merchants with sidewalk sales, restaurants saying, come eat here. And then the downtown will benefit from it. Because, to be honest with you, I've even spoken to Karen about floating the idea about moving it to Little Lake Park where there's trees and getting people out of the heat. Because once again, for my sales, I can tell you that it's my worst day of the year. So if we can find a way to create an event that actually sparks some interest on hanging around downtown for the second day, it's got a lot of goodness to it. So yeah, mashing the 2 days together, and let's fill up the second day with goodness and shut down the streets again.
Very good. So butter tart plus. Okay, Councillor or Deputy Mayor Prost.
Thank you. I think closing the street is a fabulous idea on a regular basis, but I won't even go there tonight. I don't think there's much more I can say. I agree with Councillor Downer and Councillor East. I think we can, create the event to just flow into other things, and people will want to stay and they will do different things the following day.
Councillor Ball.
Thank you. I was just thinking it's great that we are willing to work with people that are going to come forward and bring this idea, but suggestion maybe we bring the idea forward to the community and say, we are looking for a Sunday event. If you're a third party that wants to join in on Butter Tart weekend, we're looking for that. And then we have the capacity to go through people who have events. We can pick one that's easiest for you to work serendipitously with. And instead of just sitting here waiting for people to come to us, I think putting that idea out to the community is a better use of, I guess, a report to investigate having vendors both days. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but Councillor Downer, I think his anticipation was a serendipitous event as well, just expanding it in different varieties, not just vendors for 2 days. I could be wrong though. You can correct me, Councillor Downer, if that was different.
No, correct.
Okay. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. Mayor Gordon. I just wanted to expand on the idea that, or the statement that, so was it Karen said, our hotels and motels are pretty occupied. So is that correct? So that was one of the purposes that Councillor Downer said, was to get them to stay, but it appears they are staying. We just have to give them, staying overnight, but what I'm hearing is let's give them something else to do on Sunday. Maybe they'll stay another night.
This could be the first stay and play package we create that tries to capitalize off our new municipal accommodation tax, where the hotels offer a sort of a 2-day. So there's the sweetest day of the year in Butter Tart, and then there's our follow-up festival for day 2. If we've got the staff and manpower to be able to pull off a day 2 type event, but certainly capitalize on all those visitors that have come to our community and trying to keep them an extra day. So it sounds like, oh, Councillor Downer.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna happen this year. Like, it's not my intent to keep a bunch of work on anybody for this year. And the Butter Tart Festival is a complete success. Thank you to the hard work of Karen and her group. I'm just looking at some way about making it better for the business people of Midland and the citizens of Midland. I mean, if it doesn't happen till next year, that gives us more time to plan something. So that's where I stand on it.
I think Karen's probably breathing a sigh of relief there, because I don't know what the expectation was that we'd be able to pull that one off this year. Whew. But yeah, it certainly sounds like there's an appetite from council to receive this report with some creative ideas. Councillor Bald.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear. But you just muted yourself, so now we can't. So press the button again. We can't hear you. No comprende. There you are, you're back. Please
Okay.
start over.
Okay. It would have to be something organized from the Butter Tart Festival to something else, right? Like 2 days of Butter Tarts. I don't think that would be very good, because a lot of the Butter Tarts are made by individuals. And do you want stale Butter Tarts? And do you want, if they're put out, like, say, on the first day, and then they have the rest of the stuff to the next day, and it won't really be as good as the way that we have it now. But I think I would be okay to have the 1 day of the Butter Tart Festival and then have something else on the next day. So that's my thinking. All right, thank you.
Thanks. As it seems consensus that we're eager for staff to come up with something amazing to dovetail onto Butter Tart for day 2. And for not this year, but for next year. So we'll have time to obviously flesh that out, figure out what the cost implications are going to be, because there will be costs. But if we can offset that with launching something amazing and keeping, to everyone's point, Butter Tart fresh, so it doesn't become like, yawn, it's Butter Tart Festival again. I don't think we're there yet, but we don't want to be. So there's no other comments or questions. It sounds to me like this one's going to get a bunch of hands showing. So I call a question. All those in favor of a staff report? And that is carried.
According to the Canadian Encyclopedia, the Butter Tart was brought to Canada from the Filles du Roi, or the King's Daughters, which were approximately 800 women who immigrated from France to New France to marry the settlers who came to what is now known as Canada. Butter tarts are an important piece of this country's history. We'll be sure to follow Midland City Council's decisions closely to see what changes and updates that could possibly be coming to this year's Butter Tart Festival. Merci for watching, and we'll see you down the river.